So I felt like it took a lot of grit to pull out this win. I was absolutely prepared for a close basketball game. They're a very feisty team. They're very aggressive on the defensive end, and they did foul a lot in their first game, and I knew free throws would be important. And I felt like they play a bunch of players, and we play a bunch of players, and so it would be like who was more determined to get to the free throw line. I thought we were more determined to do that, and the times when we bailed out of our offense and weren't determined to do that is when they caught up. All right, but when we were really running our offenses and doing what we were supposed to do and putting the ball where it needed to go, we were fine. So, but they do that. They play a very frantic style. They're doing a great job down there, and they're a great three-point shooting team. They had 93 points in their first game, and we held them 32 under what they scored the last time they were out. So I got to be happy with our defense. And then offensively, we got to take care of the ball. We got a lot of people out of position, and we need to play more games. But it's just hard to do this time.
All right, our first question comes from Cal Friedman. Go ahead, Cal.
Coach, Taylor Mason finished with 14 points on the night, her second straight game in double figures. Can you talk about her performances to start the season?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, at halftime I was concerned. I didn't think Taylor was on her game. I believe she had 4 turnovers at halftime and just really wasn't getting us in our offense, and so didn't have command. And I started her the second half, and within a minute I went to India Banks and I said, India, what's up with Tay? And she said, if you get her, I said, can you get her? And she said, yeah. She's like, just, I'll get her for a second. She'll bounce right back. Just talk to her. So I talked to her real quick. Taylor took ownership of it, and I saw her refocus on the bench, and then huge buckets, huge decisions, huge pull-ups, and that's her game. So I thought she played an incredible second half of the third quarter and the fourth.
All right, the next question comes from Wyatt Kopelman. Go ahead, Wyatt.
Coach, congrats on the win despite it being closer than anticipated. Kelsey Marshall really stepped up late in the game.
I don't know who anticipated this not to be close. You? Because it wasn't closer than I anticipated. Sorry, I have to correct you on that one.
Well, anyway, Kelsey Marshall really stepped up with a great performance, finally found her touch from the perimeter. How do you think the team can continue to rely on her from a leadership standpoint going into ACC competition?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to free her up. We got to play better team ball on the offensive end. I mean, we were 1 to 2 assisted turnover. That's not high level at all. This is the team that kind of does take the passes away, and you kind of do have to get them off the bounce. So for Kelsey to get 12 threes up, we were doing something right, because they switch everything and they really don't let your shooters, and you really need to kind of go inside. But every time we tried to pass the ball inside, our timing was off and we turned it over. So we really needed Kelsey. There was a huge play that we called that was, out of a timeout, absolutely 100% for India to go off the bounce and find Kelsey, and the 2 seniors executed it, and it was a huge shot. And I think that kind of was a backbreaker for him.
And we're going to go back to Cal Friedman. Go ahead, Cal.
Coach, this is a follow-up. The Hurricanes were supposed to play Stetson on Sunday to close non-conference play. Is there any update on whether there will be another game before conference play opens?
We got one more shot. We got one more. I just heard. So that's how it's going to be this year. I just heard. So now it's going to be, we might have a team, but it's got to be a testing protocol situation. So as soon as we know, we will update you. But right now, we do not have an opponent. We tried a lot of things, but I think the main thing right now too is that you can't just throw a game in if a team hasn't been in a week-long testing protocol.
All right, Wyatt Kopelman, you have another question?
I do. Lots of turnovers tonight, Coach Meier. How do you think the team can continue to diminish those, especially with teams having better defense in the ACC?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be a massive concern. We spent 3 years kind of riding my Kia Gray with ball controlling and not having to, run multiple passing sets. We do a lot more off the bounce and if a ball screen reads. And so people are now having to handle the ball that really haven't had to. Taylor's playing a point guard position, which she's capable of for sure. Kelsey's absolutely having to play the point some. I thought India settled us down really well and really competed tonight. But yeah, it's an issue. I mean, it's a real issue. And but some of the turnovers, probably half of them, were off of us trying to establish ourselves inside. So it wasn't like the person dribbling just coughed up the ball. It was a lot of team turnovers. Maybe someone didn't run the right play or had wrong timing. So it's not always the person who has the ball or got the turnover whose fault it was. We were disjointed overall tonight.